into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
There's that Defiance music.
Oh, yeah. With that famous St. Louis skyline.
But the skyline no more.
Yeah.
Because we are discussing Season 3. What is this, episode?
3 or 4, depending if you count the double episode.
Right, I'm still thrown off by that. Thanks for throwing us off here. Yeah,
4? I guess it's going to be 4.
Okay, 4.
Yeah.
It was like 3A.
3A.
What's up, everyone? I'm Scott Moore. You can find me on Twitter at SMan80. That's SMAN80. And to my right is the one and only.
Hi, I'm Jesse Klein, and you can find me on Twitter at JessKlein1. That's JessKlein, the number 1.
And don't forget to follow us everywhere on YouTube and SoundCloud and iTunes. Subscribe, and on Twitter, definitely join us in the conversation with hashtag ABTVDefiance. I don't know about you, Jesse, but this was one of my favorites, if not my favorite episode of the entire series, not even the season of the series, I think.
Yeah, I really dug this episode. I thought it was fantastic. There were a lot of things resolved in this episode that I didn't even realize I needed them to be resolved.
Right.
And I kind of forgot that I was kind of carrying all of this tension from last season.
Carrying all this weight in your shoulders. With all this.
I didn't realize that I needed that resolution with Amanda's story.
Right.
Like last week we were talking about what are they going to do with Amanda? We don't really know. And we finally got some resolution with her story. I didn't even realize I needed it still.
Right, and it's a good point, which we'll get into in more detail about that too, because I didn't even realize from last season that there were things that were still not buttoned up because it had been so much time.
Yeah.
But before we get there, which we were way off on those predictions last week.
All of our predictions were wrong.
Blown up at the very beginning, blown up our predictions.
Oh man. Well, I mean, I like how it started, at least, with Amanda saying we got energy back, the Goulanite is flowing. The best thing that could happen to Defiance so far is these OMEX with their fancy little robot drones. And she just happens to omit the fact that they don't have any weapons.
Exactly. But, I know. Well, it was the perfect political speech. It was there she was in a little FDR fireside chat. She's like, we are free, we are proud, we are defiant.
Yeah.
I was oh my gosh.
And it was like, okay, feeling good.
Yeah.
And then full on just blew it up.
Blew it right up.
You did it, man. You destroyed it.
Well, I mean, it's going back with this whole theme that we've had from the beginning of, it was just nobody's safe, nothing is safe. And we saw that, something that was treasured that we just expected, okay, they're not going to do this right away. There's no way. And they did.
Literally the symbol of the show.
Right. The opening, and even on the opening sequence, you saw that they just did a shortened sequence, and there it was, blown up.
When I talk to people who haven't seen the show before, they still, that's the one with the St. Louis art.
Exactly.
And they destroyed it in a great move.
Yeah.
It definitely brings the feeling with Daytac and Stama, and I don't think they're the only VTech people there, or VC people VC people there, but with them on the inside, no one is really safe in Defiance. And I think after that hologram recording where he's saying if you're Votan, surrender. There's, I don't know about you, but if I was an alien in Defiance, I would be thinking seriously about joining the VC. Especially after they did a show of power like that and destroying, blowing it up. I don't know. I feel I think the people of Defiance are proud and they love the city.
Yeah.
And they've lived where they shouldn't have for a long time.
Exactly.
But Rom Talk seems like a legitimate like threat.
Right,
and if I was a Votan, I would start thinking about, maybe
switching sides there. Yeah, I mean, because you see that, and that is the whole destruction of the arch is sort of like a very big symbolic.
Yeah.
Not only because that's the show, that's it, but obviously in this town of Defiance, that's the symbolism right there of saying, okay, Rom Talk and that Rom Talk hologram.
Yeah, Rom Talk hologram. It's just fun to say.
Your band that you'll be,
yeah, that's the name of my indie band.
Yes.
Rom Talk holograms.
I mean, even with that, it just shows, because he was still so far out, and the fact that he had that and everything shows, that he does have a lot of power behind him. So I do agree with you. Is like it could get a lot of the alien citizenry to maybe rethink their loyalties. When they see this all happening. I mean, I would, I guess, if I was an alien.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like,
okay, well,
who is your loyalty to?
Right, and who's going to be able to take care of me and what's going to happen to this town?
Yeah.
And at this point, it looks like it might be better to jump ship.
Yeah, and
Literally.
I don't know. It's such a difficult choice. Like if it's a place you grew up, it's a place you love, and like Amanda for most of your life has been mayor. Like, do you want to be loyal to your place, or do you want to maybe not die in a terrible execution style manner and have your head put on top of a truck?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
On a stake
Yeah.
in front of everybody. And we were talking about this a little off camera before we started about this being a bottle episode in a lot of ways. But do you also feel like this is sort of a now set up as a transition episode?
Well,
in a lot of ways, because now we did resolve some things, and it feels like now it's sort of a pivot in a slightly in a different direction somewhat, even though we have the same parameter set up with the VC and the OMAX and everything. It just felt like was some resolution, there were some things going on, and now with the blow up of the arch, it felt like it set up a lot of stuff now to move forward for the rest of the season, the trajectory of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main storyline was a bottle, but I think everything else was kind of setting things up. We see Rom Talk kind of taken a victory lap, and then now knows about the OMEC, who are gonna be pissed.
Oh yeah.
Already are kind of angry, but like seeing that the VC is there and threatening their kind of like home away from home right now is not a great thing.
Right.
And I think all of the Stama and Daytech stuff are kind of setting up for what's about to happen. I think this idea of being on the front line of a battle that's kind of being waged from afar. But I think in the upcoming episode, I mean, this will go into predictions, but I think there's going to be, kind of this like chippy battle back and forth between the two of them until we get like a huge fight. But I think Defiance will probably take something away from the VC in the next episodes or so, and like it'll go back and forth.
Right. No, I totally agree. So after the whole blow up of the arch and that shortened intro, which I thought was great too, the way they did that and had the arch. Yeah, I thought that was great. We learn that they're from Nolan, that there's a whole stockpile of weapons and everything from the E-Rep
Camp Arrowhead
and Camp Arrowhead. Which makes me think of Lake Arrowhead. Like I was thinking like California. I'm like, okay,
delicious.
Yeah, it's like 300 in the water. It's like 300 miles away.
Yeah.
Now the only thing I didn't quite get, I'm guessing, and if anyone out there got that, like the direction, because the other valley is 200 miles away where the VC are. So I'm like, is it the opposite direction? Because you feel like it had to have been the opposite way from where the VC was at, or I was trying to figure out geographically how it was.
I think it was
orientated.
North.
That's what I thought,
especially since they came from Detroit.
Yeah.
I think it was north.
Right, and then so the valley was west, right? Because I'm trying to remember if anyone out there remembers, they can comment about it, because I know that that's where the VC's camped is, and I believe it was 200 miles west, and I think they did say it was like 300 miles possibly north.
Yeah, I mean, I think
through Detroit,
an educated guess would be north.
Right, so I was trying to figure out where they were at geographically, and also how far away the VC were, because I feel like that's going to end up being maybe a potential place that they'll try to take over as a place to be at.
No longer.
Well, I mean, that area.
Yeah.
Not the, which we'll get into with the wormhole and everything, but like that general area, like as a way to surround Defiance. So I was trying to picture it geographically. But so anyways, they find out I was 300 miles away, that he found, I guess, paperwork. I mean, it was like,
he was going through some old notes.
Files.
Yeah.
See, it's a good way of like having paperwork. I have to do that at my job right now. My paperwork, it stinks. But see, someone can come across it 50 years from now. And
some good old detective work.
Right. So no one always seems to be right there with that detective work. Just always seem to find the stuff. So, he finds this and they're ready to go.
Yeah.
Like Amanda's like, all right, shotgun, like let's go. Of course he benches Orisa. Do you agree?
I mean,
she kind of had to.
I mean, he didn't know what type of situation they were getting into. Number one, the mayor is so free with her life. Like, she's the mayor of the town. She's like, let's go into this
sure, let's go.
Possible trap. But you got to bench Orisa. I was thinking take Berlin. But I actually like this because, last week I had the whole issue where I didn't quite agree with the way Nolan was treating her, even though I understood where he was coming from. But this week I actually did agree with him because I still felt like he kept her behind, but he was also still gave her a job to do, which was like, make sure things are good here and with Berlin. And figure out who bombed them.
Right, and do what you need to do here. Yeah. So it wasn't like he was totally like benching her, like you can't do anything. So in this sense, I did actually agree with his decision with her, unlike last week where I felt like it was a little harsh.
He didn't have to worry about her killing Berlin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It gave her a job to do, so she had something that she could do, which was important. It wasn't just like busy work. It was like help us discover like who was behind this and how it happened and all that.
Yeah, I mean, it also is like, you two hang out. Yes, both of you dated this guy.
Right.
One of you killed that guy.
Not awkward at all.
Yeah.
But,
one of you recently tried to beat one of you to death.
Exactly.
But okay, let's just let this happen.
Right, because it's not awkward. You guys can figure it out.
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
Nolan's great at managing people.
Yes. It's like, let's bring the baby out into the middle of a fight with the VC. No big deal.
No. Tactical decisions.
No, exactly.
But they go out to Lake Arrowhead. And they find this barn. And they go in, they're greeted by a bioman. I don't know about you, when I was watching, I was like, Bioman!
Yes!
I was excited to see another bioman.
I was so excited. to see the bioman, so that was fantastic. It was George, right? That was the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, I was happy to hear their kind of like dumbed down version of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern dialogue. I was like, don't talk about the films, but she looks like girl in the films. Like,
that was so great.
It was super cool. I missed, like, I was like, oh yeah, Bioman.
Yeah.
Like, I missed the kind of seeing all the different races and stuff like that. So it was cool to see them. I love that the Biomen were all named after the Beatles.
Yes.
I thought that was super cool.
That was fantastic. And just the whole setup there was just so great.
Yeah.
It was so great. It was so fun.
Yeah, and we see them going through, and there's like tanks and like jeeps and just like rows and rows of guns
of weaponry and everything going by. It was such a great it was great. Yeah. Just the way they were going down the elevator and you're just seeing everything go across and it opens and there's like a Pollock painting right there, and like it's like it's so pristine and white, and there's classical music playing. Yeah. But then of course you have the ugly fluorescent lighting too, so you have that dichotomy going on, which I thought was just so good. But it was like so sterile. Yeah. But yet had all this great like stuff going on. Yeah. Then it's luxury. Then it's Pottinger. Yes, he's back. I was like, Pottinger. Of course. And he's like sitting there. He's like he's got apple and honey. Yeah. What is that? Oh, sorry. Like, come on, Pottinger. Yeah, living the fancy life there. Yeah, and like an idea, like they have a rain room. Yeah. Like while I was watching it, I don't know about you, I was like, this is a game changer. Yeah. Like if they can have this base. That's what I thought too. When I was first watching, I was like, this is great because now they've got everything there, and they'll have all the weaponry that they need, and they've got all food that they can grow, and like tanks to go against the VC. Oh yeah, no, exactly. But I mean, they had a good safe ground to be at too, to protect their citizenry. And 4 biomen. And 4 biomen. Yeah, that would be amazing. Like to defend. And then except there's just Pottinger. Yeah. And
I can't even watch him because I forgot how much I did not like him last season.
Me too. It brought all those things back,
like how much a worm he is. And immediately he's like, yeah, we went back towards New York, we had all these refugees, you know, some of us got raided, and like I took who I could and ended up here. And it's like, I knew immediately. I was like, he's a liar. He's lying right now.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a lying liar.
Lying liar.
And he's like, oh yeah, you can have the weapons. Have all the weapons you can fit in your roller. It's fine. Just put them in the roller. I was like, okay, he's being reasonable. I was like, I want to talk to Amanda, and I was like, ugh, this guy. I forgot like how much of an evil schoolboy crush he has on Amanda.
Creepy, gross, yeah.
Well, like last season, he arranged for them to get in a collapsed mine together, which like is like one of those things that like when you're in middle school and like just hormones are controlling your life. Like, oh, if only I could be with that girl. I wish I could save her from a collapsed mine.
We talked about that last season. Is like that whole like mentality of like like a teenager who's never really been in love and has these obsessions and fantasies and like, oh, we'll make this happen like that. Yeah, like if only I could be the savior and the hero, then she'll love me forever.
And once again, as soon as he gets alone with her, he puts on the Bee Gees.
Yes. Oh my god, that was so great though. That was so great.
It was.
I was just cracking up in the what was the other song too that they were playing that was so obvious, like so 80s. It was great.
It was so stereotypical. It was perfect. Like it was.
Oh god,
It was perfect for a person who's never actually felt love and only obsession, and has like made up, like has lived in this world that doesn't exist with this person. And it's like, of course he thought this would be the song because he's only seen it in movies, or he's only like had amalgamations of what it should be and never actually never actually experienced it before. And immediately he gets like super possessive, like you're mine, I'm yours, you belong to me. And immediately she's like, oh, this flashback to when she got raped by him, and it just got real dark real quick.
Yeah, like which we which again, kind of going back to what we were saying a couple minutes ago about getting this resolution. Yeah, because we knew that it was him, but now we could finally get that definitive, and now she knew. Yeah. And she put two and two together.
And just got real dark real quick. Like, I was watching it, and I was like, what's happening with Nolan? Yeah. Oh my god, this guy's... Oh, I forgot how creepy and possessive he is. And the guy who plays him is really good, or was really good at kind of like towing that line of like a military man who's very competent at his job, but also is obsessed with this woman and her dead husband.
This crazy side, but he plays that so well too. That obsessive and being able to play that line, so well, like right on that line, is a really tough thing to do.
And the screening room has a lock on it, which why? Like, why does he have the lock on it if he's by himself? Right. I guess Samir.
Well, that was weird too. The whole Samir thing. Like, was he? I mean, obviously he knew about him, but it was just weird because I don't know, because it was weird how he was like, oh, it's just me. Yeah. And the bioman. So I was like, well, where does Samir come in with all this?
Yeah, I was wondering why he kept Samir. I mean, maybe because he's a medic.
I guess, but that whole thing was odd to me because it was like, why was he there and why was he playing it off? I mean, I guess for them, he didn't need them to know. I don't know, but that whole thing with Samir was weird. It felt like a convenient thing for to have someone else there to like take care of Nolan when all the stuff was happening.
Get some exposition out. We find out through Samir that like Pottinger went crazy.
Right, to get the story out and everything. You had to have this other character. It was just weird the way he was introduced and the way he came in there and all that. But
yeah, we find out Pottinger went crazy. He killed.
No surprise.
He killed most of the E-Rep that he was with, and kind of had like this terror, like just whoever these poor refugees are, was just like killing them as a show of force. They arrived there with the biomen, and like he got really kind of possessive and immediately went back to his obsession with Amanda and had an entire shrine to her.
It was like I was gonna say, it was like, I'm trying to remember the movie, the not like Clockwork Orange, but one of those weird, where it was like they had that weird obsession room that was like sort of like a sex room, but it wasn't because it was just him.
Yeah,
it was so the screen. Like I thought it was. I thought it was the set,
visual style was amazing.
Was amazing. And the way they had it all set up was incredible.
And we finally got the payoff of all of the cameras that he set up around Defiance. And we see him just like just watching Amanda, and I was like, and he wasn't even like embarrassed. No. That was the thing. It was like, oh, this guy's gone crazy. That's because he's legitimately
crazy. Because if you're not embarrassed, then you're totally crazy. If you're not feeling it, you're like, okay.
To his point, before he opened the door, he was like, just to let you know, I'm a very sick man. I was like, okay. He was like, I'm not well. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for the warning. And I was like, what's going to be in there? Like, I didn't know if I was thinking like maybe like a model replica of Amanda.
That's what I was thinking, like, actually. I thought, well, didn't they have like not a mask, but they had something of her in there, right? Like
there was a bust of her.
Like a bust, yeah. But I was thinking that too, where I was like, is there like like bodies, like what's going on that he's like, I don't know, experimenting on? Like I didn't know what was gonna happen, but this was still bizarre, but in such a great way of the way they set it up in this weird like futuristic kind of. And it was great.
And he kept his balaclava and the flashlight from when he raped her,
which is
like that's a weird man. Yeah, like that was so. And of course, Amanda is just. Like she takes him apart with bullets.
Yeah.
Like she literally like pieces him apart with bullets.
One by one. It's like each leg and then the arm and the back. And then of course we're learning concurrently at the same time that he's
got a kill switch bomb.
As soon as his heart stops beating, and so of course it's convenient that she's shooting all around that the whole time.
Yeah, great way to build the tension. And I guess, I mean, that's also what we needed Samir for, is to know that bomb existed.
Right, because otherwise we wouldn't have known. I mean, obviously we needed Samir there. We needed we needed a human to be able to fill us in on everything. But it was just I'm just saying it was just a weird way of introing him, and all of a sudden he's there and helping Nolan when we come back from the commercial break. And we're like, who is this guy? And this is after Pottinger said nobody else is there. So it was that part was kind of weird and disjointed. But we obviously needed him to propel the plot forward. But, when she was shooting all around him, I was thinking she was going to do the same thing, kind of like what she did with Daytalk, and like, I'm not actually going to kill him.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to use, but he'll be obviously not able to walk or get around, and he'll be miserable. So I didn't think she was actually going to kill him.
Yeah.
I mean, what did you think when that was happening?
I mean, I didn't think she was going to kill him, but only specifically because I thought that the bomb, like the way it was set up, it would be like he dies and then boom, everyone's gone immediately.
Well, that's sort of what I thought too.
So just through plot convenience, I was like, there's no way she kills him, because then you've killed off your two main
people
characters.
Right, because I thought the same thing as you. I thought the way Samir was describing it, that it was sort of like an instantaneous, like the heart stops beating and boom. So one hand I was thinking that's not going to happen, but two, I thought as a way to, because of her character, that she wasn't going to, and that she thought it would be better for him just to be in pain, like sort of the physical pain that she's been dealing with emotionally, and as a way to like have the control over him. So that's why I was thinking it was going to be more of a reverse thing, like now she'll control him, he can't get around, he's injured, and then they'll have this great place that they can now take over.
By the way, how cool was the visualization of the heart monitor in the being projected in the background?
Was that cool? Like,
it was so cool,
futuristic, like science labby, like cool. Like, I loved everything about that whole room and that place, and I thought like it was so well done, and the set and the art direction was fantastic.
Number one, it was really cool seeing everyone get de-atomized.
Yeah.
And having Ringo go pretty.
Yeah.
As his face just gets de-atomized.
That was fantastic.
But I was kind of bummed. That we don't get to see that play. That was like...
Right.
That was a very unique set for the show.
It was a great set, and it had so many possibilities, and... I really thought it was going to be the kind of way of the strategic way of being able to have Defiance be able to survive the VC, at least for the time being.
But also for me, in hindsight, like I think it would have gotten a little muddy having like camp in the
300 miles away to the north.
Yeah, and then camp in Defiance.
Right.
And then also the VC camp.
Right.
Like, I can see why they got rid of it. It would have been hard to juggle all of those characters split up.
Exactly. And I also think as a plot point too, it would have just made things a little too
Muddy.
convoluted and cloudy and muddy. But also, it's too easy of a direction too. Like, okay, now we'll just bring everybody that wants to go, and we'll have them be here in this protected fort, and like it just,
Yeah,
it would have thrown things off a little too much. So I get where they're coming from.
I immediately had flashbacks to Lost. And like I think that for a few seasons they handled having their cast split up and far away from each other, not communicating very well.
Right.
But or having no communication. But that's a really hard game to play when you're writing a story like this. So I'm kind of glad that they kept it all together.
I am too. Although on the other hand, again, it was just a bummer because it was such a beautiful set.
Cool set,
and it was such a different direction to take the show too.
That's probably the last Pollock in existence.
Right.
Yeah.
I know, right? I know. Actually, it was funny you said that because I was kind of thinking about it. I'm like, oh my God, all that stuff got destroyed. Like this, because I was thinking like, what if those are the only seeds left of like some plants or like that's what I was thinking in my head. I was like, oh my God, certain things are like could be destroyed permanently.
And the kitty and doggy DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, I was thinking about that when that got destroyed. I was like, what if some of that stuff was like the only thing on
the last ones,
sort of like they, which again brings back to stuff today, like when they were doing the whole stuff of like taking all that, what was it, the place in Arizona or whatever that was under the dome or the whatever they were doing. I know where they're trying to like have seeds and things from each little thing, like in the event of something happening, and like the start over. And I know they have it in the space station and stuff, but it was sort of like taking a page from that. And I thought, well, how much stuff was actually lost, and will we find out? I
mean, we know that there's some dog DNA out there because George had a 3-legged dog.
Yeah, I know. That was so funny.
Go clean the dishes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I'm glad there's Samir. I think we needed a new character introduced.
Yes. I agree.
I'm also glad that we don't. I mean, I felt I immediately felt so gross having Pottinger back. Like after all, like I forgot how much I just disliked him, and so I'm kind of glad that we got a direct conclusion and to his story.
Yeah. Right, and a final resolution, like he's gone.
Yeah, we saw his face get deatomized. Like there's no way he's coming back.
Exactly, he's gone. And it was a great way of being able to, like we were saying last episode, and you were bringing up Amanda, which is a good point. It's like, what's going on with her? She's kind of in the background.
Yeah.
And so this is a good way of bringing her back to the forefront and being able to have a resolution with something that was obviously incredibly painful for her.
Yeah.
To now be able to move forward.
Yeah, and now Defiance has a cool new skate park 300 miles to the north.
Yeah, right.
Just a giant half pipe or bowl.
Oh my God. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was... I thought the explosion, like some of the visual effects on the explosion of the arch was a little questionable, but I thought the explosion of the underground base looked amazing. I thought it was very pretty.
Yeah, it's funny because we've gone back and forth on this, and I'm like, oh, they've got a bigger budget for stuff, but then sometimes you see some of the explosions, you're like, oh, these are bad. So like, I guess they put more of the explosion money into the wormhole, and the rest of it for Defiance, because that's what it felt like to me. It's like, throw more,
and it just
for the wormhole effect, because the blow up of the arch was a little lacking. I'm like, okay.
And also, I mean, there's this thing going on where Nolan and Arissa are having headaches together in their special cut spots.
Yes, and they're intensifying as we've seen. Each time they're getting worse and worse and worse, and till they go into convulsions at the end of the episode.
Now, in my experience with SyFy, having unexplained headaches never ends well.
I was going to say, having unexplained headaches that are terribly painful for anyone in a human everyday form, not good either. So
in a sci-fi world, like
it's even worse.
It could be a bug living in their brains.
Right.
It could be a robot trying to control them. It could be a special type of bomb. Like there's so many things that could be in their heads right now.
Exactly.
Someone could have left their keys there or a scalpel.
Yeah.
Like there's so many options. I mean, we'll just have to keep a look on that. Like, I don't know where they're going with it.
I don't either, and I guess it's something we can bring up in predictions though, because I've been wondering.
Yeah.
But before we get there, I mean, the whole thing with Stama and Evgen. Oh my god.
Oh, you mean when she plans to poison him during intercourse?
Yes, during coitus.
Coitus.
How she oh, that was so great. Again, like her whole discussion with Day Talk. Oh, of course, honey, I'll be thinking about you the whole time. This is the best way to do it. You know, like, I have to have sex with him to, you know, there's no other natural way of being able to just stab a needle in him otherwise. Yeah.
And I like how we kind of learn about Tevgen. Tevgen's famous.
Yeah.
Like, he's like the Omek version of to me, like, the way they described him, it reminded me of like Odysseus, where it sounded like he's like this famous artist,
like the Renaissance
this famous
man
explorer,
that has multiple,
this famous warrior, like
hyphenates,
like all of these things, and like even when like Stama goes to visit him, he's like painting something, and he's like, and they have a garden in the Gulenite mines. Like, he's got this like, sweet garden going on.
Hilarious.
Like, it's kind of cool to get some background on Tevgen.
It is, because you know what we see from the very beginning. He's this, comes across as this brutal, like vicious, carnivore. You know, you're thinking, evil. Not very smart. It's just they're out to and you see like, oh my gosh, he has all these layers, and it's just fascinating. And I love his character. I think God, I can't think of his name now. The actor is so good.
Got a great voice.
He's got a great voice, but he also has that caring presence from the beginning. You kind of had that leadership quality from when I saw him in the very first episode. I'm like, there's something really cool about him, which I never knew it was going to be. He was a renaissance of the Omex here. That was,
and I think one thing that all of the actors on the show who play aliens do very well is they're able to carry themselves in an otherworldly fashion. And I think,
but it still have that human side to them, to where it's like they're somewhat relatable.
Yeah, we can recognize parts of them, but like all of them at least have a feel of being otherworldly, except for maybe Arissa. But that kind of makes sense because she was raised as a human, basically.
Exactly. And kind of looks the most human in the sense, of all the other alien forms.
I thought that scene was great. I thought one thing I thought while I was watching it was like, how convenient that all of the aliens like have sex the exact same way humans do.
Right, of course. Of course. And I've said that from the beginning of the first season. It's kind of like, all right, so I mean, they still have sex the same way. Like, okay.
I guess it's just a mold that works.
It's a mold that works. It's universal.
Yeah, I guess.
You'd think they would have improved upon it somehow,
Yeah, but Stama,
the clunkiness. I don't know, like
just get rid of that. Stama goes through with poisoning him, like does poison him,
or at least attempts to, which also was surprising to me. But I also knew, okay, it's not going to work.
Yeah,
we all knew that wasn't going to work.
Well, she's not the first concubine that's tried to murder him.
But here's the thing too. Afterwards, is that. Didn't you find it odd that he was just so nice afterwards with that? Like, I found that odd. I was like thinking, oh my god, he poisoned the pancakes. Don't eat the pancakes, Stama.
I mean,
it was weird that he was like so nice. I'm like, oh yeah, everyone tries to kill me and I don't die. So
I think it goes towards this kind of legendary character that he is, where it's like, yeah, you tried to kill me. Nice try.
Here,
I made you pancakes.
It was weird to me though that he was that nice. I was like, okay, at the very least, I wouldn't make you breakfast the next day, even though the sex was good.
Yeah.
You still tried to kill me, so go to IHOP and get your own pancakes. I
think it's just furthering his characterization, where it's like when we see something that will make him angry, like then we'll be like, oh no, I think it's that kind of thing, and I think, he found this as an opportunity to find out information. He now knows about, like, he's now the third person who knows about, like, Stama and Alak and Daytak and, like, what they've got going on with the VC. And we know that the Omex hate the VC.
Right.
Because they're the ones who sabotage their ships. Yeah.
Which goes back to our whole theory from the beginning that the Omex were then going to be allies of the Defiance and everything. So it's going in that direction. And I think they had to do it this way with him being nice, because then he was also able to give her information as well. So, there was a back and forth, but it was just so odd to me. I'm like, okay, he's like super nice, and then like, okay, we'll go have sex again. Like, we'll go at it. It was weird.
Yeah, I mean, if you almost died, might as well go for it.
Yeah, exactly. But again, by seeing that he couldn't be poisoned the easily, then it also shows how powerful the Olmec really are.
Yeah.
And how much they really are going to be the ones that are going to help protect this town when it's all said and done.
Or destroy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I still feel, from what we're saying, is that they're going to be there to protect it.
Me too.
And I do feel that I think both of them are because you haven't seen his daughter in a while. Oh, what is her name now? It's like,
oh boy,
something with a K.
Yeah.
Not kimchi. I'm thinking of the Korean food right now, but like
delicious.
Something out.
Yeah.
Like something.
Kinsey.
Yeah. So it was close.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't seen her in a while, but I still feel like there was a weird connection with her with Nolan, and maybe once they can get back into town, and there'll be a connection. I don't know what's going on with her and where she's at, but you're obviously seeing there's attractions, and I think he's going to have Tefkin's going to have an attraction with Stama, so there's going to be a way of like wanting to protect them in the town. And
he even asks Stama like why she's sad that the arch got blown up, and she shares like she has this emotional connection with the town. And like I think he's now realizing that Earth has become the home for all of these kind of refugees who have gone there, and so
exactly, and that she has connections with the humans, and she said that to him in the last episode about falling in love and with a human. And so there's connections, and obviously that was Alak's big hobby, was doing the radio station up there. So there is a genuineness there. And so I think that they do have a genuine connection, and it was fun to kind of watch it. I also thought it was fascinating when she said to him, like, oh, no other man in my entire life has ever cooked breakfast for me. I was like, wow. It was kind of sad in a way, but even though Stom was so, like, manipulative and so, like, powerful to kind of see that moment, I was like, wow.
But, I mean, that makes their culture, like, that's the way, like...
It's very patriarchal, and that wouldn't happen, but it was...
Daytech would never,
But it was fascinating to kind of see that, and kind of see that loneliness and that... that veneer kind of stripped away from her of being so powerful and non-emotional and manipulative, to kind of see that layer taken off and that vulnerability. And for her to admit that was really fascinating to me, I thought, too.
I agree. I think Stama is one of the more complicated characters and more interesting characters in television.
Yeah, I've loved her from the beginning.
Yeah.
From the beginning, I thought she was so good.
She's so strong, yet at the same time has very little power, which is such an interesting character, because she has so much resolve and is so manipulative, is so smart, is willing to do what it takes to get what she wants, but at the same time does not have the tools or the ability to meet those needs. It's very interesting to see her kind of struggle with that powerlessness, even though she has this ambition at the same time.
Right. It's fascinating because there's a very big gulf there, and this one personality. I love it. And
the human she fell in love with, I think, is Christy, right?
Well, that's what I took from it.
Yeah, or Christy, or even just the family in general.
Yeah, just the family. I kind of took it her, but in general, like the family and all that. Yeah, there was definitely We
didn't see any little bear, Luke. We didn't see him today. I assume he's just being taken care of by some slaves.
Yeah,
that they have, or
house, whatever they're called.
Attendants. And I think the most important thing with Orissa in Berlin, other than the headaches, was they find that radio transponder that was where the explosion came from, and they're going to dust it for prints.
Yeah, so they're going to be detectives right there.
Yeah, they might find prints. Not the performer.
Yes.
But fingerprints.
Who was formerly known and now back to being again. Yes, that's true. So, then it will lead back to the TARS?
I don't know. That might lead something in the future.
That's true.
Yeah.
Remains to be seen. Does that mean it's time for...
I think it's predictions.
Predictions?
Yeah.
Could it be?
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
It's like we're in that screening room.
Yeah, that's what I felt like just for a second there. Ooh.
Do you want me to go ahead?
Go for it.
All right. So, Samir is a medic, and Doc Yule is a medic. And I think that there's going to be a lot of tension. I think there's going to be a huge change for Doc Yule. I'm not saying she's going to join the VC.
Yeah.
I think it's possible that she might. I think like, because they both fill a similar role,
Right.
I think there might be some tension leading up between the two of them.
Yeah, I could see that, and also the fact that she still doesn't trust the OMAC, so if the OMAC are starting to come in and everything, she's not going to be happy with that.
Yeah, and my other big, bold prediction is I think the VC are going to destroy the OMAC ship.
That's a good one.
Thus giving a reason for Tevgen and Kinsey to really fight for Defiance.
Yeah.
And not turn on them and kill all of them like they're planning on doing.
Yeah, I wonder, that's a good point. Like, if they destroy their ship and they end up winning, if then, was there still a VC ship that was of use? That's the thing I'm not sure of, because at the same time, I still feel like...
Well, I'm thinking like surface to atmosphere.
Yeah, I'm just, because that's a really good prediction, because you think like maybe that's it and it's just the two of them. Like, will that be a thing? And so they have to find their way to live on Defiance now.
It would give them impetus to be there and fight for them, other than...
And now this will be their new home because it's just the two of them. I don't know. It's a fascinating, and that's a great prediction, because it's sort of like, what are they going to do? Fight and then win and then sail off into the sunset with their ship and all the other OMAC that are now multiplying, and so I like the way you're going with that, because I do feel like you've got to have some kind of conflict there and a way to destroy it. I'm still thinking the headaches are connected to the OMAC, and the OMAC are the ones that are going to have to resolve that.
Okay.
There's something to do with them, and something when they were connected, and they were, I don't know, there's something there that's fishy, but maybe it's a way of them being able to solve it, and that's how Kinsey gets back in it again, and then Nolan and Kinsey have their little thing.
Sure.
And I don't know, but the headache thing is definitely going to be playing a big
game in the future.
Yeah, in this next episode, at least next two, for sure.
Awesome.
But it was a great episode. One of my favorite by far.
I really enjoyed it.
So where can they find you, Jesse?
You can find me on Twitter at JessKlein1. That's JessKlein, the number 1.
Fantastic. And you can find me on Twitter at SMan80. That's SMan80. And I'm also here for the Orange is the New Black after shows as well.
Cool.
In the meantime, we look forward to hearing from all of you on your thoughts. So make sure you subscribe and comment and post. And have a great week, everyone. Until next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.